Hello everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the DaVinci Resolve tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 8, where I'll be showing you guys about editing tools. Okay, so I'll be showing you guys all the tools available for editing over here into this particular software. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here on my screen, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the edit page of the DaVinci software. Okay. So the first thing what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to import some medias using which we are going to work on. Okay. So let's come here. Let's take out this particular video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this particular thing over here onto my timeline. Okay. So as you guys can see over here, I do have imported this particular thing. Let's come here. Let's actually decrease or let's just close down the media pool over here. And if I don't want to see a single viewer mode, I can come here and I can basically have a single viewer mode as well. Okay. And again, if you do want to open up the media pool, you guys can come here and you guys can basically open up the media pool as well. Okay, let's click on to the source option. And now over here, what I'm going to do is if you do want to have both the views, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can actually view it in a dual screen as well. Okay, so the tools which we are going to understand over here into this particular class is over here. Okay, so these are the tools that we are going to talk about. So the first thing is basically the selection tool. Okay. And also you guys can call this one as the default tool of this particular software. Okay. So using the selection tool, you guys can select any item. You guys can move things around. If you do want to place another image or place another video on top of it, you guys can basically do that. As you guys can see right over here, you guys can basically move this thing around. If you do want to get some different options, you guys can come here, use the selection tool. If you want to transform it, you guys can come here and you guys can transform using the selection tool from here as well. If you do want to move it over here one particular side, you guys can come here and use the selection tool to do most of the things over here on my screen. Okay, so using the selection tool, you guys can basically work quite like this. And now if you just play this thing up, this is how it will basically appear. Okay, so that is the usage of the selection tool. And now next comes this particular tool known as the blade edit tool. Okay, so you guys can call this one as the blade tool. Let's say if I come here and let's delete this footage from here. And now as you guys can see, the total duration, okay, so the total duration of the video which I have over here on my timeline is basically around 32 seconds and 17 frames. Okay, so now let's just feed this one over here. Okay, so I do have feed this thing over here onto my timeline. Let's click on to feed onto timeline option. And now let's say from here, I only want 10 seconds of the video and I want it to start from here. And basically I will go here onto the 10 seconds mark. Okay, let's see. I will come here. Let's try to go to the 10-second marks exactly. And now over here, you guys can see that I do have it at 9 seconds and 23 frames. Okay, so if you do want to move these things up as well, you guys can basically use the K, L, and J option. So using L, you guys can basically play. Okay, and using K, you guys can pause in your keyboard, and using J, you guys can basically play it in reverse. Okay, so we have already seen up this option here. You guys can see this is the play, this is the stop option, this is the play option, and this one is the play reverse option. Okay, and the shortcut key for all these things are L for play, okay, K for pause, and J for playing in reverse. Okay, so using K we can basically come here and we can just play, and using K we will basically pause over here. Okay, so that is the editing tool right over here. And also, if you want to, let's say you do have a very long footage, okay, and in that long footage, what you want to do is you want to actually view this in a faster motion. Okay, so if you play, it will just go quite slow. Okay, but now if you want it to be in a faster mode, you guys can just click on L and just double click on L. Here you guys can see the speed is 2x, but if you click on L again, now it is 4x, and if you click on L again, it will be in 6x again. Okay, so over here again, the same way, if I just click on L, okay, and the same way, if I come over here, if I just click on J, okay, so I will just click on J. Okay, so I will come here, I will just click on J double, and again, if I just click on J, here you guys can see the speed in the reverse mode is also accelerating. Okay, so this is about the shortcuts of your keyboard when you're working in this particular software. Okay, you guys can use the J, K, and the L keyword. Okay, so now let's come here as I was talking about trimming and cutting. Okay, so let me just give you guys a small intro about how you will be able to work over here. So let's first try to understand about what trimming is. Okay, so let's try to come right over here. Let's try to understand what trimming is. So let's say I want my video of about 10 seconds. Okay, so for that, what I can do is I can come here and I can just decrease the timing from here, and also I want to decrease this from this particular end as well. Okay, so now let's place it over here at the starting, and you guys can see the total duration of my video over here is 10 seconds and 8 frames. And if you do want to decrease the frame as well, you guys can come here and you guys can decrease the frame. And once you just select both of the sides, if you just select this side here, you guys can see that I do have a green sign onto the side as well. Okay, so once you move your mouse onto a particular side, you guys will be able to see that you do have this particular symbol. Okay, you do have a green sign. That means that you do have remaining video footage into this particular track or into this particular video. Okay, so here you do have remaining. So if you want later, let's say now you have 10 seconds and 11 frames, later on you thought, okay, I want to extend the size of the video. Okay, so in that case, you guys can come here and you guys can extend the size of the video from here. Let's come to this particular point exactly, and let's just decrease it. And here you guys can see the total duration now is 16 seconds. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to trim it down. You guys will be able to trim it down from both the sides. Okay, from the starting and from the ending as well. Okay, and the same way, if I come here, let's say I want to put out this video as well. Let's come here, let's place this video over here onto the side. And now if I come here and let's say if I just trim this thing down, you guys can see the video or the total duration is increasing over here. Okay, and the duration of the second footage is decreasing over here onto the second footage. Okay, so now if you just check the total duration, which is 54.14 seconds. Okay, so over here now, if I just come here, if I just increase the duration of the first footage, you guys can see the total duration remains the same, but the duration of the first footage basically changed. Okay, and the duration of the second footage is also being decreased. Okay, so this is how we can basically trim this thing down. Okay, if you do want to trim it down over here as well, you guys can come here and you guys can trim this thing accordingly. Okay, so once you are done, okay, with this particular part, the next thing what I'll be showing you guys is, let's say now I do have both of this footage. Okay, and now from here I will be able to retrieve the part which I want. Once you select this cut option, let's add some other musics as well. Let's come here, let's add this music over here, and now let's use this blade tool over here. So once you click on this blade tool, otherwise from your keyboard, the shortcut key is B. Okay, so if I just click on B from my keyboard, you guys can see that I do have a red line over here. Okay, and it will basically snap on the lines. So here you guys can see there is a small red line. If you do want me to increase it, you guys can come here and increase it to view it properly. So let's come here, let's cut it. And what you can do is take your selection tool, and now this is basically two parts. And what I can do is I will just select this part and I will just click on delete. And as I do have this one selected, which is full extend zoom, I will have all the contents over here fitted in my timeline. Okay, so this is how you guys can actually cut, and you guys can just delete those unwanted parts permanently. Okay, so if I come here, take this particular tool again, if I want to put up a cut in the video, I can put up a cut over in the video, any place wherever I want. Okay, let's say I want to cut somewhere right over here. So for that, I can basically zoom in using Control Plus. Let's say I will just bring my playhead over here into this particular point, and now Control Plus, and here you guys can see I am able to zoom in quite well into this particular place. Again, Control minus to zoom out and zoom to fit the timeline, and this is how it actually looks. Okay, so now the main thing is, what if I do have multiple layers over here? Okay, let's say I will just add another layer over here, and now I want to cut all of this layer at once. Okay, as you guys can see now, if I just put up any kind of cut, I am only cutting in one track. Okay, but let's say I do have all the objects over here which I want to cut with one stroke. Okay, so make sure that you have your playhead over here, and now let's say I want to cut through all these three tracks. Okay, so in that case you need to make sure that you come over here and you just select this playhead, or let's come here, let's click on to this option. Okay, and if you do want to cut, you guys can come here and cut at the same zone exactly. So now this is how you guys can actually give up a cut. And now the place, let's say I have selected this part and now I want to delete this one. Okay, so I have put up a cut, and this one is the unwanted part. And if I come here and if I just delete this one, I won't be able to recover that one again. But in case of trimming, you will be able to recover the objects which you have trimmed. Okay, so this was about that. Let's select all of it. Let's click on to delete. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I am going to place this particular video right over here. Let's place it over here. Okay, let's bring it over here at start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this one a bit as well. Okay, so I will come here, I will just trim this one up a little bit, and I will just turn this back off again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this one maybe something around 1 second. Okay, so I will just trim this around 1 second, and again I will just take out this video and I am going to come here and I'm going to view this over here as well. Let's trim this one a little bit over here as well. And if you do want to turn it off, you guys can come here and turn it off as well. Okay, so let's try to understand about this particular option known as the trim edit mode. Let's say I do have this particular icon over here into the video, and the total duration is 9 seconds and 4 frames. And if I take this trim edit mode, if I come here and if I just come here and if I just move this thing around, you guys are able to see that the total duration of my video won't basically change, but the object inside my frame is basically changing here in the first clip. Okay, so as you guys can see, I can just change the object over here which is there, and on my panel, okay, on my preview or the project panel, you guys can see there are 4 frames. Okay, so on the top left corner, you guys are able to see the first frame of my video in the timeline, and just beside that on the right hand side, you guys are able to see the last frame of the video. Okay, and also if you just come underneath on the left hand side, you guys are able to see that it is basically the first frame of the second footage, and lastly you guys are able to see the last frame of the second footage. Okay, so this is how it basically works. You guys can actually move it around. You guys are not changing the total duration, but you guys are just changing the object or the content inside your footage. Okay, so this is about that. And now again, if I come here, you guys can see you do have this particular option. Okay, so let me come here, let me turn it off. And if you want me to turn this one off again, let's come here, let's take the selection tool. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go with the dynamic trim mode. Okay, so if I come here, and if you want me to trim this thing down, I can come here and I can just trim this thing down as well. Okay, so if you want me to trim this thing down, you guys can come here and you guys can basically try to trim this thing down over here as well. Okay, so I will come here, let's take this particular mode, and what you guys can do is if you come right over here, if you want to trim it up, you guys can see this is how you guys can basically trim this thing down as well. And the same way, if you come over here, if you do want to move out the object, you guys can come here and move out the object as well. And this one is for the sleep one. Okay, so if you are using the sleep mode, and the same way, if you come over here and if you go with the slide mode, you guys can come here and you guys can basically slide down the object as well. Okay, so if you come here, let's take the selection tool, and over here with this particular tool, let's turn it back on again. If you have so many objects, let's say if I come right over here, and now what I want to do is I want to come here and I want to just cut this thing out. Okay, so I can come here and I can just cut these things out exactly the way I want. Okay, so again, you guys can just move this particular playhead. If you want to put out any cut over here, you guys can see you guys are able to put out the cut over here as well. Okay, so this is about the dynamic trim mode, and the shortcut key for that is W, and for the trim edit mode, it is T from our keyboard. Okay, so this was about all the editing tools present in DaVinci. So I hope you guys do have understood this class on how you will be able to use these editing tools in this particular software. So yeah, I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we'll be learning more about this particular software itself. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.